What's up guys, Ghost here back with some more Battlefield. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about air superiority and my first impressions on it. I haven't had all too many rounds on this mode, but I've had enough to tell you guys what I think about it. So, in a recent video I started to talk about endgame and I sort of went over what I thought air superiority would be like, or how I thought it would sort of pan out. And I gave you guys my impressions on that. And kind of sorry to say it is very similar to how I thought it would be. I mean, it is a fun game type, but it feels a little bit more gimmicky, you know, there just really isn't all that much to it. I mean, as you can see from the footage here in the background, it looks absolutely beautiful, but there's just these three blimps, you know, you fly around them, you capture them, and when I saw the obstacles in the trailer originally that they had on an abandoned flats, I thought, okay, maybe there's going to be something more to it, like they're going to put obstacles in the way, but no, on the other maps, they're just, as you can see on this one, there isn't anything. There's like a mountain range around, but all of the objectives are within that mountain range, so you can't really make use of that. So yeah, to be honest, I am a little bit disappointed in that. It is fun just to go in, especially if you're somebody who hasn't flown jets a lot, you know. It can be a breath of fresh air just to hop in, have a few games and then come out. But it's definitely not something. It reminds me of tank superiority, you know. It's something that people will maybe go in once in a while to have a quick blast on, but it's by no means a sort of competitive game mode that people are taking seriously. And I think that air superiority is very much more of the same stuff. So I wanted to go over a few things that I noticed. As I said before, there are no air obstacles except for the abandoned flats. That I really don't understand why they've done that, because that could have added another layer to the gameplay, you know, and better jet pilots could have actually made use of those, and it could have really strategized things a lot. So I was kind of disappointed about that. On top of that, you're going to be extremely infuriated by allies and enemies crashing into you. So people will often just head-on ram you. You'll see from the game footage that there's really only 1, 2, possibly 3 pilots on each team who are actually doing pretty well. Most of the other people are really just scoring points by capping flags and not by getting kills. And therefore you'll notice that a lot of people, they will either kamikaze you head-on, either on purpose or by accident. Oftentimes you will be trying to get on an enemy's tail, and 2, 3 or even more of your allies will be going for the exact same guy, and they will end up just side ramming you and killing both themselves and you in the process. You also get shot down by a hell of a lot of heat seekers. You're going to see from my gameplay here that probably 90% of my deaths were either due to what I mentioned before, being rammed either by the enemy or my ally, or being shot down by heat seekers. And I mean, everybody knew this was going to happen. You know, everyone's obviously going to be running heat seekers. So yeah, heat seekers are kind of a problem. People are obviously just spamming those as much as they can, and you know, if you get locked, you use your countermeasures, and you get directly locked again. There's not really a whole lot you can do, and you don't have to be a particularly skilled jet pilot to use heat seekers either. You can, you know, I mean, anyone can do that. Obviously, it's really the machine guns. But yeah, 90% of my deaths from those few factors. Maybe the other 10% from actual machine gun blasts of, you know, decent pilots shooting me down. And you know, to be quite honest with you guys, there really is nothing more infuriating. You know, playing a game, being killed, and knowing that there was just nothing you could have done about it. You know, it was completely out of your control. Somebody hit you with heat seekers, relocked you, hit you again, or somebody just kamikazed into you. You know, it feels, you just feel completely helpless and like, oh well, you know, guess I'll just respawn and try again. There was really nothing I could do there. And you know, after death of that happening, it does get a little bit tiresome. However, with that said, it is a nice game mode just to jump into for a couple of rounds. Personally, I can't really stand that much more of it than, you know, maybe 2 or 3 rounds in a row, and you know, each one does last for about 20 minutes or so. But if you're a new jet user, you know, and you're looking to maybe get some more locks for the jet, get some score, then it's definitely good for you, because you're going to get plenty of kills from using heat seekers, and you know, you don't need to be particularly skilled to use those. And you're also going to get plenty of score simply from capping flags from the enemy. So you're really going to unlock stuff. Is this a good thing or not? I'm not really sure, because you know, jet service stars, they used to sort of reflect your skill within the jet. So any score that somebody had gotten in a jet, you knew it was from getting kills or disables on enemy vehicles or enemy units of some sort. You know, you don't get any sort of score for capping flags. The only thing I can think of is, you know, maybe spot assist points. That's about it. Everything else, you get all your points from actually destroying enemies. So you know that if somebody's got, you know, 50 service stars in a jet, that's all from kills, and they're going to be pretty skilled. However, now you're going to be racking up those service stars no problem just from capping objectives. So it's not really going to be a clear reflection of somebody's skill in a jet. However, it is good practice, you know. You're going to have no shortage of targets to find and do some dogfighting with. Although it's not really going to be necessarily a fair situation. You might get on the tail of a guy and two guys, you know, just lock you with heat seekers. You're going to die. There's not really much you can do about that. But as I said at the start of this video, I'm going to give you guys a few tips on really trying to stay alive. That was my main problem in this game type. It wasn't killing people, it was just doing it and sort of getting away with it. You've got to be kind of sneaky, you know. Try and pick one or two people off, or fly over to an objective and cap it if you see there's no jets around there. You'll see that I'm in third person view a lot of the time, and that is simply so I can see the jets flying off. And if I see, oh, they've all just sort of left this objective wide open, and there's maybe one guy left there, I'll go after him, you know, because I know he's got no allies who are going to come after me. Or sometimes you'll notice in the footage, I see a bunch of them, they cap a flag, and then there's maybe, you know, 6 or 7 jets. They fly over to one of our flags and they're going after that. And instead of going after the first guy and letting the guys follow me and then kill me, I'm going to wait until they all fly by, and then I'm going to get on the tail of, you know, the last guy to fly by. And then you can seriously wreak some havoc. Not only can you maybe kill 1 or 2 jets, but all the rest of the guys are going to sort of break off from the formation and they're going to sort of quit going to cap your team's objective. Unfortunately, you'll probably find that not many of your teammates are going to be strategizing much with you, but you know, you have to try your best under the worst conditions. Now, when it comes down to loadouts, there are quite a few differences here to loadouts that one uses in Conquest and Rush game modes. Obviously, you're going to be using heat seekers rather than rocket pods. That's a no-brainer. When it comes down to the other 2 slots, for countermeasures, I started off using ECM, which is what I usually use, but I quickly switched over to flares, and that just comes down to the fact that you're going to be being locked by heat seekers all the freaking time, and flares are just the most reliable thing. The other slot, I started out using stealth. You might say, like, no air radar, what are you thinking, man? But you're really going to find out in this game type that air radar doesn't really do so much for you. The maps are so huge, and there are so many enemy jets on there, that it's not going to assist you that much. On top of that, your teammates and you are going to be spotting all the enemy jets up. So as you see here, you know, I'm usually flying around in third person, simply looking for a target. Then I'll switch into the first person mode to actually physically spot them within the game. And yeah, basically everyone's going to be spotted, so they're going to appear on your radar anyway. And with all the heat seekers flying around, having stealth on or belt speed is a really nice addition there. So like I said, I started off with stealth. However, once I equipped flares and stopped using ECM, I found that was reliable enough, and I was able to sort of, you know, evade heat seekers well enough that I switched from stealth to belt speed. I found that to be more to my liking. You know, it just gave me the opportunity to be able to take out more jets in a shorter amount of time. And in this game mode, you're gonna sometimes find yourself flying behind, you know, 2, 3, or even more enemy jets who are all sort of clumped up together. And if you end up in that situation, you have belt speed, you're really going to thank me, believe me. Anyway guys, a few more tips. So stay close to the ground. You're simply going to be a lot less obvious a target, really. You know, enemy jets are going to be looking for players who are up in the air, especially more newbie pilots who are just, you know, trying to lock onto somebody. They're probably not going to notice the guy flying low over the ground. They're going to be locking onto somebody who's in the air. When you yourself fire heat seekers at an enemy, I probably wouldn't try flying straight behind them, because if they're any decent pilot, they're going to realize that you're behind them. They're going to pop their flares, and then they're going to turn, you know, do a 180. They're going to turn in your direction, so you won't be able to lock them again. I try and engage people from the side. Try and get people, you know, lock people who have just used their countermeasures. So if you see somebody put their ECM on their flares, lock them up fire away your missiles, and that should be all she wrote. You're not going to have to worry about actually killing a jet. Getting a disable is enough, because in this game type you cannot eject. So as long as you get a disable, you know, a few minutes later, unless they of course have extinguisher equipped, a few minutes later, or rather a few seconds later, they're going to be dead. Now if you yourself get locked, what you're going to want to do is, more often than not, just pop your flares or your ECM and do a 180 and just go behind you. Without air radar, it is hard to tell, and even with air radar, where the lock is coming from. There's just that many enemy jets. But a safe bet is usually that they're going to be directly behind you, and they're going to be travelling around the same speed as you. So if you pop your countermeasures, do a 180, often you'll hear the did noise, and it will stop because they're not able to lock you on anymore. Anyway guys, I wish you the most of luck in this game type. Hopefully some of these tips that I've given you will help you stay alive for a little bit longer. But, you know, it is pretty much all out carnage, so don't be surprised if you get in this game mode and die a lot. Good news is, for those newer players and people who, you know, kind of maybe start getting in jets in Conquest, and they don't stand much of a chance, due to just, you know, the guys in the enemy team, maybe they're pretty well versed in flying in jets. This is nice for them because, you know, the majority of the players in this game type are new in the jets, so I feel like it's giving everyone much more of an opportunity to get in the jets, fly around, you know, get a little bit better with them in a, well, I hasten to use the word safer environment, but, you know, at least most of the other players are at the same skill level as them, so they have a fighting chance. So it's nice for them. But personally, as someone who already does fairly well in jets in Conquest and Rush, I don't enjoy this game type all too much. I'm all for going in it and, you know, having a quick blast, but I can only take so much of it. I've yet to team up with the guys in Charlie Squad and try some sort of teamwork, because there really doesn't seem to be much of any sort of tactic or planning going on. You know, pretty much people just fly to whichever objective they like and try and take it out, and usually your teammates will fly to the objective where there's like 10 enemy jets there. Not really a good idea. But I had one game where one guy, he ended up being top on leaderboard. I think he had like 1 kill and 20 something deaths, but he was top on leaderboard just because of scoring points from camping flags. So there you go. Seems a little bit unjust to me, but whatever. Anyway guys, these have been my first impressions, what I think of it. I would love to hear what you guys think below. You know, am I talking complete bollocks? Do you guys love this game mode? You know, I really hope that you do, and I hope that I'm wrong about it. Yeah, I kind of feel it's going the same way as Air Superiority. So you guys let me know down below. Also, let me know if you've found out any awesome loadouts. I did experiment with maintenance and the fire extinguisher. Didn't really find that to be very successful, to be honest. I think I'm going to stick with good old belt speed and flares. But yeah, let me know. And I hope you found this video useful. If you have, feel free to subscribe. Likes, favourites, and all things of those sorts are always appreciated. You know, help me get my videos out there a little bit and into the community. And I'll see you guys very soon for another video. Cheers.